What's up, guys? This is Maxwell Media Inc. I'm your host, Sir Maxwell. And surprise, surprise! We are back with more Unicorn of War. But this time, we were going to be talking about Sinners.
The
Spooky.
best movie of the motherfucking year.
It's the best movie of the decade. It's so crazy. We went from talking about the worst album of the decade to the best movie of the decade.
The range of our interests, the range in topics. I have whiplash just thinking about it.
Like, ooh,
The whiplash of a showgirl.
I wanted to do something topical, but also something like really like spooky because it's Halloween. Yeah. So let's start here. Let's start with like what Sinners is. So Sinners is a Ryan Coogler movie released in like 2025, and it was like the movie of the summer, and a lot of it was interesting for me because on social media everybody was talking about sinners, and but it wasn't like I think it's interesting because it's the first movie in a while that like wasn't a franchise movie that was big. I remember pre-Marvel Cinematic Universe, I remember when movies were just movies. Like, oh, this movie's coming out. Let's go see it. This movie's coming out. And then you had action, you had drama, you had romance, you had animated kids movies. And like there was a lot of variety. And not only a lot of variety, but there was a lot of variety that did well at the box office. But now it just seems like if you're not part of a major action franchise, then you just don't matter.
Very much so. It's this tendency that's been happening pretty much across the industry the last 2 decades, where there are more resources, but like as Lindsay Ellis said in one of her videos, they're being funneled into fewer and fewer projects. They're being funneled into safer franchise projects. So when you get something like Sinners that breaks the mold and is its own thing and succeeds, it really fucking succeeds because everyone's like, oh, thank God. A breath of fresh air, and then immediately it's like back to franchise hell.
Literally. And I remember somebody doing a Sinners cosplay on TikTok, and it was like a red-eyed kind of monster. And I was like, ooh, okay, so it has to be some supernatural shit to it. But, I don't know. All I saw was Michael B. Jordan and then Ryan Coogler. And I was like, okay, well, Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler, that should be a really, really good combo because obviously, their relationship is Black Panther. Because, Ryan Coogler is the writer and director of the Black Panther movies. And the first Black Panther movie, Michael B. Jordan was arguably more of a breakout star than even Chadwick Boseman at the time. Because of the movie, So, I go and I see Sinners, and I take an edible, and I get drunk, and it's like I'm going to a midnight showing.
And ooh, girl, that combination.
Mind you, I'm drunk. I have eaten an edible. It's a midnight showing, and because it's a midnight show, I'm in the theater all alone. I'm in the theater all alone in the dark.
Not all to
in the
yourself.
Dark, all alone in the dark, drunk and high.
This sounds amazing, but also terrifying.
I was quite terrifying for me. So, yeah. So I had a great experience, but I was also like so scared in that theater. I was like, "Bitch, somebody's gonna eat me!"
Ooh.
So I would do like general thoughts and da-da-da-da, but because this is a movie and we rarely talk about movies on this channel, I think I'm going to have it be a little bit more freeform but also structured in the sense of I'm just gonna move down the timeline of the movies and we're just gonna kind of give our commentary. So we open, mind you, this is in the 30s, the early 30s. I think it's 1932.
The 1930s.
Yes. And, we have a preacher talking about, sin and the devil's music and, a gross misinterpretation and they're all wearing white. And I think one of my, somebody made a really interesting commentary about how they were all wearing white. I'll clip it. But
so that's what the movie starts off telling us. Having a musical gift can bring healing, but it also attracts evil. So Sammy enters the church full of folks dressed in all white. And this is supposed to be a representation of how they are all cloaked in hypocrisy. All cloaked in hypocrisy, right? And the moment is so emotionally assaulting. That's what I'll say. It is assaulting, and I'm gonna tell you why. Sammy walks in bloody, and his father does not break his performance for a second. His son just came in bloody, scrapes on his face. When you see how some of the other people in the church look at him, and they look at him with this shock and this like scary look, they look scared because what happened to him? His father does not break performance, and he uses his son walking through the doors covered in blood. He uses it as a moment to promote his God, to say, see, son, that's what I told you. I told you that music would lead you here. And all you have to do, God saved you. All you have to do is give it up. That's why God saved you, so that you could put your guitar down, so you could put your fucking gift down. Come sterilize yourself. Come sanitize yourself. And stand behind me and say words you don't believe and shout things you don't feel. Because we have to sell ourselves out for this God that was given to us by the people that are trying to kill us. Every day, we're trying to find a way not to get killed by the Klan. The white people that are connected to the Klan gave you the slave Bible. The slave Bible is what the black preachers took into their churches. That's why y'all have a different sermon than the white people have. That's why it was so important that people untangle themselves from Christianity enough to deconstruct it and dissect it and maybe rebuild it to something that makes them feel more pride in themselves and not like they have to strip themselves of who they are in order to follow that God. That messaging that they putting out right now, y'all saw that Kagu ass bitch, that, that grift.
How about how religious people feel like they are more pure, more holy, more entitled to, I think this movie showed me that, well, not showed me, but it reminded me that religious people are like, they feel more entitled to safety than other people do. I feel like they feel like because we are religious, because we do what we're supposed to do, we are supposed to be safe and we are supposed to be protected. But because you are not religious, because you are a sinner, you deserve these bad things that happen to you. And, me and Thomas actually started watching Greenleaf recently, and Thomas made a really good observation about the character James Bishop Greenleaf and how oftentimes his preacher role, like, not that he doesn't believe the God shit, but that to be a preacher, to be a leader in the church, is to be a performer, is to be an actor, and to preach and to give the gospel to people in a way, yes, that is a performance, and how that performance can create barriers between you and your family. Because let's talk about how the son walks in
traumatized, clearly.
Truly traumatized. His blood, he has blood all over him. His clothes are tattered. He has bruises. He has cuts.
His guitar is broken, man.
That's like looks a part of terrible. Him. Like, he looks really, really bad. And this is his father. This is his fucking father. And the fact that his father could not break character for like a second. He couldn't break the performance for a second. Just to have any sort of humanity or compassion. Like, I feel like if that was a normal father, they'd be like, oh my God, son, like, what happened to you? Like, are you okay? Like, you would have, your humanity would come in. But, like, it's like he had none. And not only did he have none, he used this imagery. He didn't break performance for a second. He said, oh, you see everybody? You see what being a sinner will get you? You see what the devil's music will get you? He used his son and his pain and what he went through as like a moment to be like, ooh, bitch, I'm gonna use this for propaganda.
It was truly disgusting. Basically, like, Sammy's like a musician. He very much enjoys playing his guitar. He loves singing. And his father is like, son, that's bad. You sing for drunkards. You should only be singing in church for the Lord, because otherwise the devil's gonna follow you home and fuck you up. And to not only like have your son go through this, and this is your reaction, and using it publicly like that, but to weaponize the thing that he loves that has literally just put him in danger. Like, I cannot imagine just the trauma, like the additional trauma of having your parental figure who's supposed to comfort you, like, look at you when you're fresh off of the worst night of your life, or you're not even really grateful to be alive. You're just like in shock. to have that be the reaction, it's like, okay, thanks, fuckhead. I really appreciate you using me as a weapon for other people to like conform to your idea of a good person. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, and it was just so fucking strange, and it's just like he had no fucking compassion for him. Ugh. But we flash back to 24 hours earlier, and you know, Sammy's feet are in the grass, and you know, I like that, like, they showed his feet in the grass, but then like it was like his feet were in the soil, and it was like soft earth, and it was just the beauty of the day, the beauty of the sunrise, the beauty of nature, and I feel like, you know, as Black people over time, I just feel like we've really lost that. Not just Black people, but people in general. I feel like we've lost that beauty. And, you know, but still, Sammy's father is giving him a lecture about music and the devil's music and da-da-da-da. And I just want to say, as someone, because me and Tom is different, because Tom is very much like, not anti-religion, but just like, you know, it's not really his vibe, not really his judge, and he really kind of just feels like, you know, if something is out there, cool. If not, also cool. I'm just me. I'm more of a person that's like, I don't believe in organized religion, but I do believe in order to the universe. I do believe that there's something out there, and I do believe that there are a lot of different ways you can find higher knowledge, God, whatever you want to call it. I do think there are multiple ways to get to that, and I think religion is, at least the way it was originally intended, was different human beings in different cultures trying to find ways to the same place. But I think that in the last 500 years, it has mostly been used as a tool to oppress people and enslave people. And I think that white Jesus has really been one of the biggest tools in order to enslave African American people. And when I specifically, I mean white Jesus. People will say, well, actually in Ethiopia, okay, but the Christianity in Ethiopia is not the same as the Christianity in chattel slavery. So let's
specifically American Jesus, who for some reason loves capitalism and guns.
Yes, that Jesus that was used to enslave us. I you know, that shit is really, really insidious, and that shit will really have you thinking that you're supposed to sanitize yourself and suppress yourself and conform. Like, and I think that, like, on both ends, I think that was kind of like the villainous force in the movie, whether that be Remick or that be Sammy's father, where it's like, you know, give up anything that makes you an individual. Give up anything that makes you special. Give up what makes you unique so you could come and conform. Whether that be conform to Christianity or conform to a vampiric white hive mind. I just think that, you know, that those are some very, very interesting parallels. But moving on, we get to the Smokestack Twins. We got played by the very, very beautiful and talented Michael B. Jordan.
One of the finest men to walk the earth, might I just say.
Literally. Yeah, you know, and they're trying to buy a juke joint. They were up in Chicago for a while, some shit went down, but now they're back and they trying to buy a juke joint. So Smoke is Elijah, and then Elis is Stack. And they're twins. So they're hanging out with this kind of Klansman guy. They're hanging out with, you know, this guy who is the sheriff. And he's
Mr. Hogwood. Name is very appropriate because he's a pig.
Yes. And he owns land. I said, so you get to be the mayor, you get to be the chief of police, you get to own land, which, I mean, I think that at that point in time, owning land was a really big deal. If you owned land, you were like low-key a king if you owned land like that. So you got to own land, be the chief of police, be the mayor, and you're the head of the clan. Like,
it's certainly a list of things. And also not shocking because, like, I mean, the twins talk about later how, like, the North is not really much better. The shit is kind of everywhere, but we are in Mississippi. So this isn't all that surprising.
You know, they were like, listen, Chicago is just it's just Mississippi with tall buildings.
No, for real though. Like, Jim Crow might not be there, but his spirit is.
You know, but they were like, listen, so we won't buy this property, and and I really, really hate creepy ass white men and white people like this that try to gaslight you and play your face. Because he's like, so I hear you part of the Klan. Nah, ain't no Klan around here.
Meanwhile, there's like a Klan hood probably in the back seat of his fucking car. Like,
and then it's like,
at least own your malice, you weirdo. I mean, you're already spitting on the floor, like talking about us cleaning it.
Literally. And it's like, but then they're trying to have these deals, and then all these little white men, they do these things where they try to sun you in business deals. So it's like like you mentioned, the spitting on the floor, trying to show that you have a gun, so they can't act. Not too much. I got a gun now, but they also have guns too, and they're outnumbered. But and
also kind of a subtle thing also, but referring to them as boys, and the twins are like, we're men. Thank you very much.
Literally, I was just about to bring that up. Like, he called them boys, and that is a thing in the South where like white men will routinely call you boy and gal. It'll be and that to this day is still a microaggression among black people, and it's kind of like this dog whistle of like, I mean, still people today be calling me boy, and it's like, girl, no, it's not that. It's
kind of like that. It's this infantilizing thing where it's like, I don't view you as a fully grown adult, and also I have dominion over you, and it's like, ooh, I don't like that.
Yeah, quite disgusting. And so, but yeah, they give them the money, and they're like, listen, we're gonna turn this into a juke joint. Okay,
and if we see your ass on our property, we're gonna shoot you in the face.
We're gonna shoot you, and don't bring that Klan shit around here, bitch. And he's like, girl, ain't no Klan. Girl, what do you mean? Klan? Who is the Klan?
Even if I were, I surely wouldn't bring them by the next morning with guns. Definitely not.
Like, girl. And it's just like, oh.
You have the word of me, the Grand Dragon. I mean, Hogwood.
Just literally playing in their fucking face. Just playing in their fucking face. It's quite weird. It's quite
the audacity to like behave that way when they've already clocked him. Like, wow, okay.
So then the twins is doing their thing, and they pick up their cousin, because Sammy is cousins with the Smokestack twins. So with Smokestack's father and Sammy's father, they were brothers. So they are cousins. So, they pick up Sammy, and it's okay, bitch, well, we gonna go to town, and we gonna start a juke joint. Because the first half of the movie is them getting ready to open the juke joint, and for it to be this party. So...
I really appreciate just that front part of the movie. It really takes its time, like, not only establishing the tone, but also just, like, setting up the characters and getting you to care about all of them, so that the back half of the movie hurts more. I just appreciate that, especially in this day and age. It feels like stories aren't willing to let you just sit with characters and get to know them.
Yeah. So Stat goes with Sammy to town to like gather up some shit and get some shit ready. So first things first, they go down to the market. And I really, really, really... I love the duality of these twins. I love the duality of these characters. Because... first he runs into this little girl, and this little girl is gonna do some errand for him, and he's gonna pay her, and she's like, okay, well, I'm gonna pay you this much, and she accepts it. He said, you're not gonna accept that. We're gonna do a deal. So I'm gonna say this. You're gonna do a higher number, and then we're gonna meet in the middle. And
the numbers have to be in conversation with each other.
Right. And I like that, even though like they are seen as these kind of gangster, kind of bad guys, they have a code to them. And I think that like that was the original appeal and allure of that life, was like, okay, like, yes, we are outlaws and we are Robin Hood ass motherfuckers, but we still at our heart do the right thing. Because criminals back in the day, they used to have, like, not to be like back in my day, because that wasn't my day, but like back in the day, like there would just be lines that people just wouldn't cross. like women, children, the elderly. But like in today's day and age, oh baby, it's just lawless. It's literally like we do not give a fuck. We will shoot up the kids. We will shoot up the school. We will rape the women. We will do it all and not give a fuck.
Yeah,
and,
I feel like with the twins specifically, like the reason for their criminal behavior has been to just cope and escape with this very unjust, racist system. And I feel like you can see that in this interaction here with this little girl, where he's teaching her to advocate for herself and to be willing to be more aggressive and fight for what she deserves. Because I mean, that's kind of one of the few ways to survive in a cruel, ruthless world like that, is to be like ruthless right back about your own value.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he goes to the store. And he is talking to
Lisa.
Bo and Grace. Yeah, Bo and Grace Chow. They own the convenience stores. And they own two convenience stores. They own one right across from the other. And the difference between the convenience stores is really that one is for the white people and one is for the black people. And
literally, they're on the same like street, but just opposite sides. And it really just highlights the absurdity of segregation. Like, y'all really can't, y'all can be like this close to each other, but like never the two shall meet. Really? Like, it's so fucking ridiculous.
It was that serious. And I love that scene of their daughter walking across the street to go get Grace. Because
one of my favorite tracking shots.
Right. Because I think that was a visual representation of just like how they're trying to show how the Asian community was able to go back and forth between. It's like the model minority, okay, bitch, yeah, we cool with the black people, yeah, we POC, okay, but we also don't make white people uncomfortable so we can flourish there. And I think that showing that was a really good way to demonstrate that kind of privilege that they have in that way.
Mm-hmm. It feels like it's working on multiple layers here. I feel like just the social commentary in this movie in general is very layered and rich in that way, and communicated very masterfully, where you don't even realize it's being communicated to you.
You know, but yeah, he wants Grace to make a sign for the joint, and then he wants Bo to fry it to supply some catfish so they can fry it on up. But before that happens, he runs into this guy that TLDR stole somebody from him. Like, they shorted him on some money or whatever. So he was like, okay, he shoot him in the leg. And he does that not to be an asshole, but to be like, listen, can't nobody ever say that they stole from the Smokestack twins and then walk away with a limp. Like, I have to do this to you. He's one of those guys that feels like, I have to do violence. I have to beat the bad so that you respect me. But that duality to them, where he goes into the child shop and was like, somebody go outside and here's some money. Somebody go outside and patch him up. Like,
right, to make sure that they'll be okay, but that they'll remember. Small correction, but it's just too funny. It's the little kid that's not the kid, like the teenage boy who's like helping get shot in the leg. The main guy gets shot in the ass.
Yeah.
It's funny as shit. he's like, you shot me in the ass. I'm gonna get sepsis up there.
Literally.
Oh my god.
Thank you for remembering the small details, because I have a problem with that.
I mean, it's funny, but I feel like tonally it also matches, because like you shot me in the ass, like it kind of disarms you. It kind of makes you go like, oh, so this is fucked up, but also like he's not trying to like kill them. He's just trying to do something that he'll remember so he doesn't fuck with them again.
Exactly. And I just think that's beautiful. And then, you
aspirational,
know,
even.
I would say very, 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 very aspirational. And then another scene is them going down to the train station, and you know they run into a guitar player. Do you remember his name off the top of your head? I'm trying to find it in my notes.
Oh, you mean Delta Slim?
Yes, Delta Slim.
I believe he's playing the harmonica, actually.
Yes, he's playing the harmonica.
He's playing the harmonica, and at the party he plays, I believe, the piano.
He plays a multitude of instruments, and he actually works for another club. But they were like, I will pay you double what you do. And he was like, listen, I do this club every night, and they give me money. What do I look like going to your club that I don't know what's gonna be here tomorrow or next week or the week after? And he was like, listen.
We'll give you double and Irish beer.
Exactly. And then I clocked the tea about how he was like, listen, how did you get the Irish beer? And I think at the time I didn't really clock that, like, what he meant by that was because of segregation, not just among like white people and black people, but among other different types of white people. If you got Irish
it used to
beer,
be that the Irish weren't white.
Right. So if you got Irish beer, that means you stole it from the Irish. You stole it from the Irish mafia, and they're going to be coming after you. So, like, bitch, like, how
Chicago
did you get
ain't
this?
done with us, I fear.
Chicago was not done. So, but that was enough to get him into it. So it was just like, ooh, child. But then at this train station, we also meet a very, very important character to the movie. We meet Mary, played by Haley Steinfeld.
She has an excellent bob haircut, I must say.
The bob was excellent, and I did love it with her pink dress. What did you think about Mary when she first came onto the scene?
I thought she was very bold. Because she approaches Stack, and Stack is like, Sammy, she doesn't see me, she doesn't exist, I'm just gonna fade away. And Mary's like, hey Stack, why'd you run away? Like, you told me that you loved me. And Stack's like, I told you to stay the fuck away from me. And Mary says some obscene shit immediately. She's like, you stuck your tongue in my, hoo-ha, and then you fucked me so hard. And I was like, okay, so I love you immediately. You're amazing.
And like,
oh God.
When I was,
I'm just the history, like the history that's hinted between them. I'm like, oh, the mess. I love the mess.
The chemistry between them was quite palpable. Shout out to Haley Steinfeld for that. And I'll clip like the little moment, but a commentary I was listening to was talking about how because Haley Steinfeld is, let's be clear, Mary is a white woman. However, in the context of their community, she is a white passing woman in the sense that, like, her grandfather was biracial. Her grandfather was half black. But her grandfather also married a white woman, had white children. Mary's parents were also white. So Mary is white. But because she kind of has that mixed ancestry and we have the one drop rule going on, Mary has this internal thing where, like, she is perceived as white. But in her heart and mind, she feels black, and that has
it's very much giving it's kind of reminding me of like the actress from The Girlfriend's pilot for Lynn, where like she learning that the actress was biracial, but she and the character are very much giving, like, if you were to look at her, you'd be like, oh, that's a white woman, because whiteness is kind of like about your perception and the appearance of someone. Like, how do you move through the world? How does the world treat you based on your appearance?
When you say when you say she looked white, do you mean Mary or do you mean Lynn?
Oh, I meant Lynn. Yes. Not Lynn specifically. I mean pilot Lynn.
Oh, from the unaired pilot. I was trying to think. I don't. Like...
Yeah, I know. I could feel you doing the math in your head, and it's like, oh right, I have to remind him because I feel like you saw the pilot and immediately erased it from your brain.
Literally, I erased it from my memory after I memed on it with you. Okay, because I will make this distinction. I think that there are passing women, and because I think the only other character in real life that I could really make this equivalation with is Halsey. So for y'all who do not know, Halsey is black, kind of, sort of, because her father was black, but and biologically her father is black, according to her. But Halsey is white. Halsey looks white. Like her hair, everything about her is white, and it's it's strange. Genetics can be weird, can be funny, but whatever. So she has this kind of connection to black culture a little bit because her father is white, but also like she's seen as a white woman, and how does she not? And Halsey has made it known. Hey, I care about my heritage. I love my heritage. I'm proud of my heritage, but I do not move through the world as a black woman. I don't. So I'm not, don't ask me to speak on certain things because at times it feels not appropriate because I do not have this lived experience. And I think the lived experience of somebody like Halsey is, and by extension Mary, is drastically different from the lived experience of somebody like Persia White, who played Lynn on Girlfriends, or someone like Tracee Ellis Ross, who played Joan on Girlfriends, because those are biracial black women who show up in the world as black.
Right. It's because we all have our like preconceived notions about like what certain categories of people are and what whiteness is, and that does play into that. That's not to like invalidate someone's like personal feelings of like connection to like the culture or their heritage, but it is kind of the reality of like, but how does the world view you? How does the world treat you when you walk through it?
Exactly. And Mary is in a unique and somewhat coveted position of being able to choose to be white, because the TLDR of their relationship is, he was like, listen, I told you to go be a white woman. You can't be with me, because if you're with me, then that's going to be a problem, and we're going to be shot at and killed, and they're going to rape you and kill you, and then they're going to hang me from a tree. And you know this, Mary. But Mary is like, I'm not gonna invalidate her feelings of actually loving him, because I do think that she did love Smoke, but I also just kind of feel like, girl, I feel like you have to know and understand the consequences of this, and I feel like her needs to be included in it, to feel included. I feel like, I'm not gonna put all of the blame on her, but I feel like that is part of the reason why things went left that night. I do, because it's like, girl, go be fucking white. But she doesn't like white men. She likes black men, and I get why she likes black men, because black men, I'm gonna sound so bad for saying this, but
girl, go for it.
White men, especially in that time period, very cold, very dry, very boring. They don't have a lot of passion. Black men, especially black creative men, they have a lot of passion, and they feel things very deeply. And they're very passionate and emotional, because they have things to be emotional about, because of the oppression. And it's just like, I feel like the whiteness, I feel like there at times there could be a lack of, because of that lack of angst, there's like a kind of like a lack of really anything aside from like domination,
Yeah, it's like the lack of tension result. It leads to like a lack of like personal development, a lack of chemistry, and I feel like Mary is kind of like tired of that dull, insincere world, but she's also, I don't know if she's not aware of the safety it has, or if she's just disregarding it. She's like, but it's not worth it. Again, it's a rich text.
Very, very, very rich text. Very, very, very rich text. And they kind of leave that interaction. Sammy runs into a woman. I think her name is Pearline. Yes.
I remember her because her outfits are beautiful. Her voice is beautiful. Just everything about her. The way she sashays away like, careful boy, don't bite off more than you can chew. I'm like, queen.
And their relationship was interesting to me, because Sammy gave teenager, and it was very clear that Pearline was older than him. And I personally think that one reason why Pearline was attracted to him was because he was younger, and not in like a ill pedophilic way, but I think she kind of saw Sammy as like innocent to an extent, and I think that she saw him as like, oh, because he's not quite a fully grown man yet, I feel like she felt like he was not as predisposed to violence. Like, he's not going to be one of these guys that's going to be like beating my ass. I feel like she felt like Sammy was someone that didn't realize his own ego or his own strength yet, and was like, versus like the men her age being more like, ooh, I want to dominate you, I want to control you. but Sammy's kind of having his first experiences, so he's more like a little bit more honest, a little bit more wide-eyed, a little bit more compassionate. So I feel like that's why she was attracted to Sammy.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think just also in general, like Sammy just has this very like sweet, sensitive aura about him. I feel like it has to be like intrinsically connected to just the music that he's able to perform, because music is a very important foundational aspect of this film, specifically in the fact that it's able to like connect people, connect cultures. Like we'll get into this fully more later, but I feel like that deep empathy that comes from that is reflected in Sammy's very gentle nature.
You know, yeah. But then we're cut to Smoke, and Smoke is down to the open fields, and he's visiting his daughter's grave. And you know, that's when we meet Annie. I love Anne. Anne is the MVP
favorite
of the movie.
character.
I love Anne, and I really. This is my thing with Anne. I really like that this actress got to play Anne, because I this is my thing. I love that we are showing real black women being with real black men. And what I mean by that is, Michael B. Jordan is a very attractive man, but I'm going to say this. A lot of women I have seen say that Michael B. Jordan isn't necessarily attractive because of his face. Not to say that he's not an attractive person, but what I'm saying is he's an average looking person, but he's an actor and he's built and he's muscular, so like that's kind of where that superstar appeal comes from. But the point I'm trying to make is like, it's nice to see a regular everyday black man be with a regular everyday black woman, and I feel like that's really rare to see in Hollywood. I think with Hollywood trying to cast black people and do black movies, I think a lot of times they want this like statuesque model beauty with really sharp like Eurocentric features. I feel like the prototypical like black Hollywood darling to me is either a black woman that's light skinned or a black woman who is tall and dark skinned, but she has like these like sharp model line bone structure that almost makes her look European. And it's like,
yeah, the Western standards of beauty born out of white supremacy are very, very strong, and they get really amplified in our media landscape in Hollywood. Like, we are obsessed with them across the board, and they're very much rooted in that kind of racism. Like, I remember you describing to me a lot of people's reactions specifically to like Annie's body type, and I was like, she just looks like a normal woman. She's very like beautiful.
Girl,
like
they're like, girl, Annie is fat, and I'm like, whoa, slow down.
It's actually insane because when you look at her, you're like, she just looks like an average person. Like, yeah, maybe she's a little bit like more round or rotund, but like she's not like that large. Like, but I guess by Hollywood standards, she is.
Even if she is fat, let's just say Annie's fat, just for argument's sake. And I said this before, and people drag me. Your mom is fat. Your mom is fat. Your sister's fat. Your auntie's fat. Your sister is fat. Your daughter is fat. Your cousin is fat. The lady who takes care of your kids is fat. The receptionist down the street you talk to every day is fat. Your nurse is fat. Your bus driver was fat. Your middle school teacher was fat.
We all know fat people. They're in our lives. They do exist, and they have sex.
And not only was your mother fat, your mother was fat and met your dad, and they had you. Your sister was fat and got married. Your third grade teacher was fat and she had a family. So stop acting like everyday people who are fat don't find happiness.
Fat phobia is very strong. I feel like fat phobia is like one of the prejudices that like never got fully dispelled as something that's bad. People very much still like go, fat phobia is not real. We're just concerned about your health. And it's like, girl, no, you ain't. Like, people get so upset about the idea of someone who's fat, like not suffering or hating their body. Like, is it like, so to see someone like Annie, like have like this like hot moment with, it's just, it really sets them off because they're like, but you're not worthy of that because your body is not living up to our standards of beauty.
And it's like,
and also fat phobia is rooted in anti-blackness, just saying.
You know how many women, black women, who look like Annie every day, who pull men that you find desirable, like Smoke and Stack? Like, you know,
it's more possible than you might think.
It's very common. It's not the land breaking thing y'all think it is. But anywho, to get back to the story, you know, he's visiting their baby's grave. He's like, Daddy's here. And Annie comes, and Annie's like, so what kind of trouble you done got yourself up into? And they kind of have a back and forth exchange. You know, he tries to give her money, and she's like, listen, I don't want your cursed money. Because, you know, Annie has wooden coins. And Annie is kind of like a little bit of a wise woman of the community. She believes in the ancestors and, you know, talking to bags of bones and talismans and stuff like that. And I really, really want to speak on how that kind of thing has been demonized in the black community. Because going back to white Jesus, I really,
white
really
Jesus, the bane of our existence.
The bane of our existence. I really, really hate how in our community, spells and charms and talismans and candles and astrology and talking to our ancestors, it's coming back into popularity now. But for the longest time, it was seen as like bad, voodoo, devilry, witchcraft, all this bad shit. And I'll just say this: other marginalized communities talk to their ancestors. Asian people talk to their ancestors. And that's not seen as, ooh, this is black magic. This is voodoo. No, it's just seen as them honoring their ancestors.
It's actually quite interesting. Like, a lot of more ancient, like, pretty much every single, like, ancient civilization performed some kind of animism where you believed that you could talk to your ancestors, where you believed the earth itself was spiritual, that everything had a spirit within it, and it made you like a lot more respectful towards your relationship with community, with your relationship with the land and the resources and the animals, and like those developed into different religions. And when monotheism came around, it was very much like shunning those things, specifically Christianity. Wherever it went, they would demonize the local cultures and replace them with their own god. And it's very sad seeing how people's own relationships with their own people, with their own culture, have been basically stolen from them and supplanted with white Jesus. Where it's like, you're not allowed to talk to your ancestors, and also don't think about nature too much, just focus on God, whomst is white, so we say.
You know, and it's like, but yeah, and Smoke is like having this back and forth with her about the validity of her talisman. She's like,
they're coming to buy supplies for root work. And Smoke tries to give her his money instead and calls her money make believe. And she says, I don't want your cursed money. Put a knife to the nigga neck. Everybody's really violent, okay? But she put a knife to the nigga neck and said, give him my money back. Said she don't want his cursed money. She said the money she got is good enough, okay? And then he says to her, he been all over the world, and he never seen no demons, no magic, nothing. All he saw was power, and the only thing that can get you power is money. And she says, all the death that you've been seeing, and you walk back to me, you come back to me, standing here in my face, 2 eyes, 2 legs, two arms, 2 hands, 2 feet, okay? Whole. Now, what make you think that my root work and all my prayers every day ain't what kept you alive? And then she asked for his Gree bag. And Gree bag is basically like a little bag that you put charms, talismans, or representations of whatever it is you want in the little Gree bag, right? So same thing is like a talisman. Like for me, this is a talisman. This is my daddy's initials and a clear quartz crystal, right? Little bit of earth, little bit of my daddy. And because I believe, regardless to my pa's issues in ancestral space, he is a protector, and he always has been. And so for me now, I have a talisman of protection that means something to me based off of my ancestors and the earth. Okay? So yes, personal effects. Exactly. Mojo bag, Gree bag, whole bunch of different names, but it's basically a bag and you put little stuff in it. Okay? You put different stuff in it, but it's basically meant to protect. Okay? And
I don't want your cursed money. The way I talked about earlier, Annie was in such a state of mind of being free. To be free of like the society, what society has to say, you know, to have all the resources that you need to be able to live off the land, to live off of trading, and not be bound by the American Constitution of made up money. That bitch was free. That bitch was free in a way that I feel like we all long
She
to
got
be.
the real cottagecore life, and I'm happy for her.
She really do. And I really hate that kind of lifestyle has been demonized for such a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, and then we get to that little love scene. They get to fucking and hunching. And I just thought the scene, although the scene was titillating and arousing, it was also really beautiful because she was like, you know, she wanted him to like say it, like say that you love me. He's like, I really gotta say it. She's like, no, yeah. She really wanted him to put words to what he felt for her. Because I think oftentimes, people just think they need to have access to your body, but they want to have access to your body, but not actually express. They're like, oh, me doing this is enough. No, you having this physical expression of love is not enough. You have to actually tell me that you love me. You have to verbalize it. You have to put in the work. You can't just come in and sling your dick around and think it's just gonna get surface. No.
Because
so I thought this.
Yeah, it was very beautiful. Like I kind of mentioned before, like when we were talking about Showgirl, like I am an infamous prude. I don't like talking about this kind of stuff, but I kind of have like come to view that kind of intimacy as deeply emotional, as like a connection between people and like caring about each other's like pleasure. And as you said, like it needs to be more than just the physical act. It needs to be more than just a mechanical act. Or it's like, why are we even doing it? Why don't you just go do that yourself and leave me the fuck alone?
Literally. So then we cut to the desert and we cut to Remick.
Oh, Remick.
We cut to Remick and he's running from Buffy the Vampire
Slayer. The real heroes of this movie. the Choctaw vampire slayers.
It's the Choctaw. And he's banging on the door. And the white people, they open. And he sees that hood in the background. He clocked their tea about that Klan shit. So he plays to their weaknesses. He uses their hate against them. And this lets them in or whatever. And then a couple of moments later, the Choctaw man knocks on the door. Knock, knock, knock. And she opens the door. She holds a gun to him. And she's like, ma'am, there's a very dangerous man on
He's
the
not what he seems, ma'am.
And she's like, no. Not what he seems. And she's literally, again, a part of that commentary I'm going to clip. But she mentioned how in the moment, there's a gun in his face. And he's so calm. He's so collected. You can tell he's scared, but he still has his composure. And there's something about being able to hold your composure and your humanity in the moment, because he still found it within himself to like pray over her.
This was so interesting, y'all. It's these little small moments like this. So when she comes to the door with the gun pulled and the Choctaw man is standing there, even though she put a gun in his face, so his back is stiff, right? He's definitely defensive, but he stays calm and he still prayed over her. This woman is so filled with fear and hate that she's holding a gun on this man, and that man still did not change his energetic field because she pulled a gun on him. The power that it takes to not allow that to change who you are in the moment, I just feel like that stoicism that he had in that moment, but the stoicism wasn't cold. There was so much care in that man looking at her, praying over her, looking back at his people that was telling him it's time to go because the sun is setting, and him deciding that I'm gonna let this white bitch figure it out for herself. May have God have mercy on her soul. I feel bad for her. He looked at her like he pitied her, and she looked at him like she hated him. And then when he left, she closed the door and put the gun down and put her back to the door because she was scared of him. She holding a gun on him, but she was scared of him. And I think that's such an interesting thing to see how white people can, especially racist white people, how they come off with all of this anger and this domination and this rah, 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 and they're playing offense, right? But the truth of the matter is what's behind it is so much fear. And it's fear that they don't have to have, because if they were actually aware and paying attention, you would have been able to read Choctaw's body language, his eyes. Like, to me, like what you do when you turn off all your fucking senses and you see that white man look weird, but you let him in your house, Choctaw pull up with this very peaceful, safe demeanor. It's all over the Choctaw man. And she is scared of him, not scared of the white man that is literally at the same time in her house killing her fucking husband.
Like, and on the flip side with her, she has a gun in his face, but like you can tell her back is tense. She's scared. She has the gun on him, but she's the one that's scared. And he still has the peace within him, the love within him to pray over her and be like, listen, you know, I'm you not letting me help you, so I'm gonna leave you to yourself.
Good luck.
But have mercy on your soul. I just feel like the beauty in that scene is just so underrated. And then when she closes the door and she puts her back up against the wall, she's like, like she was scared. She was fucking scared. And the real evil was in the back room killing her husband.
If that is not a microcosm of the foolishness of racism, I don't know what is, because you are literally like being a threat to people who are just trying to help you or to live their lives. And you're the one scared. You're the one playing victim. And you're actively inviting the evil force that wants to fuck you and your loved ones up. Like, to fuck all of us up, really. Like, it's given MAGA. It's given MAGA. I say that like that's any different from the Klan.
Literally. And like, you know, and just see with the way he was able to play on their evil and their fear. That the blacks are chasing me. Evil black people are chasing me. And you know, and that just played on their fucking fears. So obviously, you know,
that shot though when she like walks slowly into the back room as the sun is setting and he's just sitting in the chair like covered in blood waiting for her. I'm like, whew. Oh God, you are evil, but you are also a cunty diva, Remick. I must say.
You know, Remick we'll get more into Remick.
Oh, we'll have words.
We'll have words. Well, I don't think, were there any more scenes I missed before we get to the party?
I don't believe so.
I don't think so. I think we go to the party now. So we down to the party. Everybody's there. Everybody's turning up. You know, Alice is Annie is frying up the catfish. You know, the people from the grocery store are there, and Bo is there, and Grace is there, and they're serving drinks and doing bartender shit, and fucking and you know, you got Cornbread watching the door. You got Perlene dancing. You know, everybody's just having a good old funky ass time. Everybody's having a good old funky ass time. And, you know, we have this scene where Mary is trying to get in. And Mary's like, oh, Cornbread, please let me in. And he's like, girl, you can't come up, white girl, you can't come up in here. This is black.
You must be at the wrong institute.
And I think
the white girl.
Literally. And this is what frustrates me about stuff like this. And even the concept of like black people inviting other people to the cookout. I feel like the scene was like, poor her. She just wants to be included and fit in. But the mean black people, they're not going to let her in. She just wants to have fun and dance. And it's like, if it was that simple, then sure, but it's not. It's literally her being there puts everybody at risk. It puts everybody in danger if people
as
know
we
that
will
she's
see
there.
Later.
Because people know that she's there, because then it's not just, oh, the white girl is having fun with y'all, let's leave it at that. It's, oh no, what did y'all do with her? Y'all kidnapped her. Y'all did witchcraft. Y'all do something. And then it gives people a reason to come at them. It gives people a reason to come at them.
And it doesn't matter what's the truth or what's not. We're literally just looking for an excuse to destroy this place.
Literally. And it just, her presence there puts everybody at risk. And I just feels like she doesn't get the gravity of that, because she doesn't have to live that reality. She's able to trade and go back and forth between being black and being white. And, you know, that's unfortunate that I just feels like she never got the gravity of that situation.
No, I will say, like, when I was watching the movie, I was like, oh, I kind of never realized how this also like ties into her being like the first to be turned and to really bring the danger of the vampires in. I feel like that was a very intentional choice. That was very, ooh.
Yeah. 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 So, you know, they go in and, you know, of course, it's another confrontation with her man. And she's like, listen, I told you to live your life, to go be white and be with a white man. But you being with me, like, I can't protect you and we can't have this. And I think that, like, he loved her and he wanted to be with her. But I think he cared more about what was going to be better for her in the long run. And also, I think he was thinking about himself and his brother and his community. And I just think Annie was just like, no, baby, we can fight it. Caution to the wind.
Love conquers all. And I'm like, I'm so sorry, sweetie. The Disney movies lied to you. It doesn't.
You know. But yeah, they about to go to the back and fuck. They about to go to the back and fuck.
Once the vampirism is accomplished, of course.
Yeah, so once the vampirism is accomplished. But then we get this scene of Sammy. And Sammy goes up to sing and doing his guitar. And it's this beautiful
one of
scene,
the best scenes in cinema.
I think it's literally, I think it's the best scene in the movie. Where he's singing his song and the past, the present, and the future all collide in this kind of beautiful collage. And it's like what's past is present and what's present is past. And I think that that kind of idea that everything is connected in one way or another is very beautiful. And I think that can apply to obviously music, but not even just the music, the stories that we tell. And I think the clothing that we wear and our culture and the way we do our hair and, you know, and everything like that. You know, I think that's really beautiful and powerful.
I absolutely agree. I feel like now specifically we talk a lot more about how our present is the echo of the past and its consequences, but also shaped by our hopes for the future. And I think music specifically, because this is a specific conversation a lot of communities have where their culture and specifically their music allows them to connect with one another, but also like their ancestors and the people they've lost, much like, you know, the religions that were like stomped into the ground and taken from them. Like you can see it like as the scene goes where you see all these different like genres of like black music, both from like before this and after, and it all just blends so seamlessly together. And it's so beautiful, but also overwhelming in its beauty that you can't help but just be like transported. It's literally like the way music can make you feel like you transcended. It perfectly captured that in both the sound and the visuals.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it also attracts evil.
Beautiful. Yes, and speaking of that, and before I get into that, I do have to add, because I do remember that we skipped the scene with Delta Slim recruiting Cornbread, and I'm only going to add that is important because of the backstory that he gives, because he played that harmonica, you know, the cliche of the prison harmonica thing, is because he was imprisoned for some shit that, you know, obviously he did not do, but he played him and his friends, they played so good in prison that they released them, and they played for other people, and they got really, really good at it, and they got a lot of money from it. And he was gonna take this money and use it to skip town to go to somewhere that was better. But then the ticket master down to the railroad station told the Klan, hey, a black person just bought a ticket and think he finna go somewhere. What are y'all gonna do about it? And they said, oh, well, this is what we're gonna do about it. We're gonna frame him for raping a white women's so he could be hanged. And all of his musician friends could be hanged because guilt by association.
And take all of their money while we're at it.
And take all of their money while they're at it. So it's like, I think that I think that like the whole idea of this new place and this joint and this new hope and this idea, I think that was something that was really refreshing for Delta Slim after everything he had been through. He was like, oh, it kind of felt like a new beginning. it kind of felt like a new beginning for him, and I really felt sad that it ended the way it ended. And then with them recruiting Cornbread, you know, somebody else had also brought this up of just like the disrespect to women and how.
And I wonder why we always have to do this. Why do we always have to disrespect a woman? Like, why? So Stacks comes to talk to Cornbread, and he like, fuck your quota. He's like, hey man, stop bothering me. I got a quota. I'm behind on my quota, picking cotton. And he really saying fuck picking cotton, but he says, man, fuck your quota. And Cornbread says, hey man, my wife right here. Wife is fully pregnant, picking cotton just like everybody else in the field. And that's one of the reasons why I feel like, you don't be telling no women they need to be working and all of that shit. They can do it if they want to, but they should not feel like that they have to, because we did way too much while pregnant, as far as I'm concerned. It could be okay for us to do nothing while we pregnant for once in our fucking existence as black women, my God, to damn day. Anyway, the lady is picking cotton, fully pregnant. And Stack says, man, fuck your wife. He said, what? You heard what he said, nigga. He said, fuck your wife, right? But then he hurry up and change it before Cornbread get close to him. And he says, oh, she gonna fuck you real good when you make this money. She might even put your little pecker in her mouth. And I was just like, why does the woman have to be disrespected in order for you to get this man to come and do security? What the fuck is that? And it was a dominance thing. It was basically like, I'm about to disrespect your wife right in front of your face, and you ain't gonna do shit about it because you big, but you scared of me because I'm big and I got a gun. And you need this money. So on all levels, I got something for you. And I just kind of feel like essentially, and the lady gonna say how much you paying, right? So then the woman is like, nigga, if you paying, you need to go. And then look what he says. He turns to her and he says, we'll be back.
The disrespect to women was so commonplace, and often like that was how you would kind of assert your dominance or son other men, so to speak, because to be like, listen, we'll pay you so much money. You be making so much money. Your wife might even let you put your peckerwood in her mouth. And it's like,
it's like, because the woman is the man's property, what better way to disrespect the man or like joke with him than to joke about his property?
Literally. And of course, the woman being, the dutiful wife number one, has to take it, but number two, has to encourage him to take this job because they need the money anyway. So what matters the disrespect to her? And it's just like, girl, but yes, that's how the Cornbread dealt this love there. I just thought that was a really important scene. But yeah, going back to Sammy and his music, that attracts some travelers.
AKA Remick and the Turned Klansmen.
So Remick and his two Klansmen girlies pop up, right? They were like, knock, 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 can we come in? We heard your music and we love it. We're traveling musicians and we just want to party it up with you.
We want to do the kumbaya circle as we sing together. Can't we all just be one family?
And we're just like, we think the fuck not. Like, are y'all Klan? No. We believe in music and
we
and,
don't
and
see
equality.
color except
like,
the
girl.
color of your blood.
Literally. And then they do this song, this eerie ass song, and it's like one of those moments where like, white people
they don't realize how creepy they are
at disguising their intentions. Like, I feel like they were telling you exactly what they were gonna do. Pick poor Robin clean. Pick poor Robin clean. Robin is not a bird. Robin isn't a man. They're gonna pick him clean. Eat him from the root to the... They want to devour you.
Ooh,
okay?
yeah. And a specific thing, too, it's going to keep happening where it looks like they're all, like, scarily, eerily in sync because Remick has basically just enthralled these people to where they're not really who they used to be. They're part of the hive mind where they're not their own people anymore. They're just, like...
They're both Remick. I think those people are dead, and then they're both Remick.
They're his little puppets.
So it's like, yeah, and like, notice this. Clock this tea, because Bonnie Blue clocked this tea, and I didn't clock it. Notice how when they were doing their whole, like, obvious, we're telling you what we're going to do, but we're going to make it silly and plunky, so you're going to ignore it, sort of thing. The women were like, Something don't feel right. I don't know. Something does not feel right. With
I
this.
noticed that also when I was watching it earlier.
And
It was specifically Mary and Annie, just like, what the fuck is wrong with y'all?
But the men were almost kind of folding. The men were like, they were kind of jiggy. They were like,
As
not so
usual,
bad.
it's
Yeah.
the
And
women
I feel
seeing
like
the shit
it's-
because they got to live with this shit every fucking day. They're used to sensing danger.
But Smoke, and I think Smoke clocked this because of his connection to Annie. I think Smoke clocked this because of the relationship with Annie. I think he was like, nah, y'all still can't come in, no. And I just think that, you know, again, back with Mary, because Remick clocked this tea, but y'all let Mary in, y'all let that bitch in, why can't we come in? And then Annie says, because she's family, and you see Remick kind of get upset, because remember, he was able, with the Klansmen, he was able to use that division, that hate and that division to divide them. But when he tried to do the same with Mary, oh, look, Mary's white. They said, Mary's family. You can't turn us against each other. That's our girl. He was upset by that because he wanted to exploit that difference and divide them apart.
That's a very good catch, actually, especially because Remick, he, like a lot of evil, he appropriates a lot of like nice sounding, progressive sounding language to appear non-threatening. Like, he's like, we believe in equality. We're all family. Specifically, I think the use of the word family here is very fitting because when he says family, he means my network of slaves, my hive mind, my vampiric hive mind. And when Annie says family, she means this community, like the black community here. We protect each other. We look out for each other. You creepy bitches can leave.
You know, exactly. And again, I keep referencing this commentary because it's so good. Like, even if they were to come in there, the moment Smoke's like, the moment one of y'all feel offended, some of y'all gets too handsy with the woman, all that nice shit is gonna go away. That evil clan shit is gonna come out, and then it's gonna be a shootout, and it's gonna become black versus white, no matter what, you know. And she made this really, really big point about how in the early 2010s, when the Jordans were coming out and everything, there were a lot of cases of black people killing each other over shoes. And it was connected to like how black people kind of pick up things from the oppressor. Because like back in those days, it was really common for especially in the country, black people not even wearing shoes. Like, bro, we don't even wear shoes. We're connected to the earth. We don't even wear shoes. The shoes thing was more of a white people thing. It was more of, we're gonna wear shoes. So it was often a thing of like, N-word, you stepped on my shoes? Oh, you gotta die. Like, the smallest infraction. Oh, bitch, you gotta die. You
just
gotta
looking
die.
for any excuse
Because
for
the
violence.
shoes... Because the shoes were an extension of the status. It was an extension of power, of privilege. Of, I'm better than you. I'm flexing on you. You're beneath me.
Beneath my shoe, even.
I'm like, shit like that. I'm like... Literally. So Mary is like, I don't know, guys. I think I can like figure it out. I think like I'm like Nancy I can talk to them, you know, white to white.
I can use my whiteness to communicate with them. I'm like, girl.
I could use my white superpowers
And also,
to
see,
connect
that's
to
the
see
whiteness
what
too
they
coming through. It's
with.
like, why do you need to do with the investigated? Like, she's literally the dumb white bitch in a horror movie who's like, let's go investigate the creepy sound. And it's like, girl, do you want to live?
You know, so she goes outside,
Skipping over to the vampires on the corner.
She's like, ugh. Literally, and she's like, so what's the tea? And she's just like, you know, we just want to make music and have fun.
As they finish each other's sentences.
And then she's like, what is that? Literally. And then he has like this old Spanish doubloon. And she's like, what is this? She's like, it's money, currency. We have currency. It's old, but like it's useful still. And she still kind of found them weird. So she tries to leave and go back. But then they kind of try to attack her a little bit, and she pulls out a gun. She's like, back it the fuck up. But then she makes the mistake of turning
Honestly,
around.
I think regardless of whether she turned, she was fucked. But it was foolish on her part.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I think 3 of them and they're all powerful. I think them turning around her. I don't think she had to turn around necessarily for them to get her if they really wanted her. But I just feel like her turning around was stupid.
I love the way it's cut too, because like, you know, you can see her walking away. You see in the background, Remick gets up. He starts flying, and then it cuts back inside, and you don't see what happens, and you're like, "Fuck, they fly? They fly? What do you mean they fly?" It's like it does such a good job at like making Remick this very threatening figure, where you're like not exactly sure what he can do.
Yeah, because vampire media, it's like very rare in vampire media, in modern vampire media that they fly.
And I hate to quote the god awful Rise of Skywalker, but they fly now.
Yeah, they fly now. So going back inside, there's this kind of scene where Sammy is finna hunch on Perline, and he was like, "I want to taste you, I want to eat your cooch." And she's like, "I don't know.
Maybe I should wash up
like,
first." And he's like, "You don't need to do that.
You don't need to do that." he was nasty with it. I think like that scene was fine. I think that people need to take into consideration that to be a receiver, to be someone who's getting the pleasure or whatever, that's a very vulnerable state to be in. Like, you're opening yourself up
Quite literally
to this other person, and you're vulnerable, and literally it's like, what are they gonna do? What are, are they gonna like it? Are they gonna like me? Do I smell weird? Do I taste weird? Are they gonna tell people if I
especially
taste
for like
weird?
a woman receiving it the way that Perline does, like a lot of men aren't even willing to do that with their girlfriends, and I feel like it's that misogynistic thing where it's like, you want the woman, yet you act like disgusted by her body, even though it's what you claim to want. I feel like it kind of ties into what you said earlier, that like Perline likes Sammy because he's not like all of like the shitty men like her own age who probably wouldn't be willing to do that and would be like very like mean or nasty. Like, no, he's gentle and he genuinely cares about like your pleasure and your happiness.
Mm-hmm. So I think that was a really, really pretty scene. I liked it that. You know, but anywho, so Annie come back. Cornbread, aren't you gonna let me in? And she's like, well, of course, baby. What happened?
The beginning of the end.
In. Like a dumbass. I was like, why does she need to be let in? You already let her in. Why do you need to let her in again? Dummy. But he let her in, and then he's like, I gotta go pee. So he goes outside to do his business. And then, you know, her and Stack start to hunch. And then they hunch it, and then she starts biting
literally
the shit
like lashes out half of his fucking throat.
Literally. And there's a problem. It's like, listen, Smoke is like, I need to go find Stack. And then, you know, somebody's like, oh, baby, he back in there hunching Mary. He's like, I don't give a fuck what the fuck they doing. I need someone.
And that was a mistake.
Okay? I need help, because he was in the middle of chewing out Sammy for wanting to play music, because he was like, give up music. Because I think their dad was a musician, and he was really abusive to them. And, you know, they had to kind of kill him and shit. And I just think that, like, you know, the guitar was actually their dad's guitar, but they lied and said it was like a famous singer's guitar to like make it seem more prestigious to Sammy or whatever.
Mm-hmm. I did note that line. I forget the artist's name, but they kept bringing it up, and I was like, interesante. So, but they get interrupted by the problem, and then they have to go find, you know, Smoke. So they come in a room, and, you know, it's like she's literally eating the fuck out of him. So of course he blows her to hell. He blowing her brains out with bullets.
You know, literally, not metaphorically, literally with bullets. Okay, and she get right.
And she's like, "We're gonna kill every last one of you," with a smile on her face, like the white devil.
We're gonna kill every last one of you. Like, cue the Jade West, Sweet Sally Peaches impression. Like, we're gonna kill every last one of you.
You know, this specifically, it gave very Evil Dead energy of, like, you're all going to die tonight, where, like, the possessed takes glee in, like, the murder and the suffering of their victims.
You know, and then she runs out and shit. And then, of course, you know, he's dead.
I sobbed like a bitch when I was watching this. It hurt so bad, like especially when Stack was like, I love you, and then he slipped away. That hurt. I think specifically because they really emphasize that Smoke is always looking out for Stack, and Stack is like this very like sweet, emotional person, whereas Smoke is a little bit more guarded. Like to have that the one who was always being protective lose the one that they were trying to protect, that hurt. That hurt so bad. Ooh.
That hurt so fucking bad. And then once there was like, oh, bitch, get away from him. You gotta move. You gotta get away from him. So I'm not leaving him. Get away. I'm not leaving him. I'm not leaving him. It's like, girl, put him down.
Like,
put him down.
Because like Mary's clearly undead. She's like a haint, like, which, you know, is like it's like another term for ghost, basically a possessed person by an undead spirit. And if it got her, it gonna get him. So we need to run.
We need to go. So they lock the door, right? And she leaves and they lock the door. And then, you know, in the commotion of all of this, they're trying to talk about what happened. She bit him, the commotion. But then Cornbread come back. And this scene, oh baby, this scene, Cornbread come back. Ooh. The Cornbread has been haunting my nightmares.
First, like him going out to like pee and just hearing Remick and the others talking about like fellowship and the peekaboo thing from the dark. Oh, I hate it. I hate it. I hate it.
It was quite scary. So he is like annoyingly chipper and like sanitized and like and all of the possessed people, you can just tell their personalities are gone. They're gone. They're just these like chipper, happy.
They're all yapping about
robots.
fellowship and we're all one and kumbaya, and it's like, girl, fuck off.
And like, well, what happened? Oh, she passed away. Well, let me come in and help him heal. I help him heal. It's one family.
One united family. You know, I
being
don't
together,
see color.
Fellowship. You know, and then like, what the fuck are you going on? And they chewing him out for leaving to go take a shit. And it's like, and he's like, well, you know, I'm just trying to, come on, let me in so I can help. Come on. And then Annie's like, why you need to be invited in? Well, see, you and your Buffalo Bio bullshit. Let me in. And I like that Smoke is starting to trust Annie more. Because back when they was going back and forth down to the cottage, he was like, you know, your voodoo magic, black magic bullshit don't work. And he was like, really? So you're telling me that you went out to Chicago for years, come back because some bullshit that you did. And you're telling me that the reason why you still got 2 eyes, 2 arms, 2 legs, a heart, your brain, your eye, you think that had nothing to do with me protecting you? You think that had nothing to do with me praying for you? You think that had nothing to do with my energy protecting your energy? Like, think about it, you know? And I think that throughout the entire movie, the fact that he survived, he was the only one aside from Sammy that survived that night. I think it was because of Annie. But anywho, he's starting to trust her more. So he's like, get the fuck out. He said, well, at least give me my money. He said, give me my money.
Put your hand out the door.
If it was me, I would have thrown the money. I would have thrown the money. I would have here your fucking money.
I would have put the money. I would have like used a stick, like put the money on the floor, used a stick, pushed it out the door.
Literally, I would have thrown that money outside. Bitch, go get it. He handed him the money. Oh, the jump
Literally,
scare.
he grabs it and moves to bite it in like 2 seconds. Thank God Smoke has good reaction time. Shoots Cornbread in the fucking face. But Cornbread is unfazed. He's like glowy eyes. He's like, I'ma get you.
And it stays there. It stays like that the rest of the movie. It's quite literally the most terrifying thing
I don't know if Cornbread has any further lines other than that. I think he just goes to hissing.
Yeah, and I just think that Cornbread for the rest of the movie is scary along with the other puppets, because even like down to the way that they move, they all move in unison, and I feel like they move in a way where you can tell that they're dead. I don't know how they were able to manage that, but you can tell that they're all dead and that they're not moving and that someone else is moving.
Yeah, it's like a puppety.
I really don't get how they got.
It's like a puppety movement
like,
where somebody else is.
Oh, my stars have left the girls of two money. Broken hearted salute to father dear. Kiss me, darling mother, drunk a pint of beer. My grief and tears to smother, then off to reap the corn. Leave where I was born. Cut a stout black lawn to punish. Roasting goblins, brand new pair of roads. Rattling over the frogs, fighting all the dogs on the rocky road.
guiding the strings. It's like, oh, you wouldn't be moving that way if you were the one in charge of your body.
Right, and you can just tell because of how uniform it all is, and it's just so scary. I think that's even more scary than the gore and the terror. So Annie is telling them, these ain't Hanks.
And she does it because Stack is like, let me out, guys. I'm actually alive. Breaks through the fucking door. And what does Andy do? Hits him in the face with pickled garlic. And he runs out as his face burns. And I'm like, Annie, you're a motherfucking queen.
I'm like, you a real one, Annie. Because he was like,
what's with these vampires and knock-knocking?
And it was like... I was like, y'all gotta stop with the knock. Okay, baby, the knocking was...
it was already annoying me with like Miss Swift and Wood. It's annoying me even more here. I'm just saying.
You know, so they gather out in a circle and like, baby, we gonna eat some garlic. We gonna eat some garlic.
Annie's like, I'm gonna teach you all to be vampire slayers, like me and Buffy.
Like me, like literally, like Annie is on the Watchers Council or something.
Amazing.
Like, you know, but then Grace is like, oh no, we gotta get the fuck up out of here.
She's like, Bo, go get the car. And like, Bo's like, okay. And Bo goes off into the darkness and you're like, oh, he gone. Oh, he gone.
You know, and my thing with that is, because a lot of people are like, see guys, this is like a representation of like how other POC and Asian people, they are cool to be fun with us. They have fun with us. We'll drink and smoke and party with you all day. But when the shit gets real, bitch, we're out. We're out of here. We're gone. And on one hand, I do agree that with that interpretation. On the other hand, I also feel like if it was me and I was Annie, I would also be gone. I would also
fleeing
be
for
like,
my life.
Let me get the fuck up out of here.
Oh, especially, I think, because, you know, they have a kid at home, like, waiting on them, and that will come into play later.
You know, but I do think that, like, because of that, I think that they were unable, because, like, you can still love your kid and also have some consideration for other people, and I just think that Grace did not have that. But again, but it's understandable. I get it, but I'm just saying that that's what it is. And I think the difference between Annie and Grace is, I think that because Annie and Smoke, because their daughter is dead, and I think that gives them a reason to not want to be vampires. Because when you're a vampire, your body is stuck in your soul is stuck in your body, and you are unable to join your ancestors. And I think that because they both have a connection to the other side, I think that gives them motivation to like not want to die and be vampires. While on the other hand, Grace's daughter is living. She's among the mortal. So she's very rooted in the things that are going on here in this world and staying here.
Very much so. I really appreciated that too. Like, just I really like it when media like reflects you know, the death is a natural part of life, and this aspect of it here I think does that quite nicely, because Annie's like, if I become a vampire, you have to kill me before I turn, because I got someone waiting for me, and so do you. I thought that was really beautiful and painful setup for what's coming later.
You know, but she like a dumbass. I was like, and now if Bo would have snuck out the back, he still probably would have got caught. I mean, they're fucking vampires. But I still think that would have been a little smarter than just walking out of the front door to walk to the fucking car.
To be fair, he left before they knew about the vampire thing. He left after, like, when they found Stack was dead, but they didn't quite know what was going on. Like, I think Grace and Bo walked over after Mary had run away. So they didn't see that.
They didn't see it, but it was after, like, the vampire stuff started.
The vampire stuff had started, but no one had said it was vampire stuff. No one had said it to them.
Right. But it was just a girl, so they just like, bitch, we finna get the fuck up out of here.
Good luck with that.
I was like, but whatever it is, it's outside. It's like, girl. So, obviously, when he comes back and Cornbread is eating a motherfucker, and it's just like, I think, but you know what I think? Of course, the vampire shit is a metaphor for whiteness, and it's a metaphor for how whiteness consumes people, it consumes culture. I think this even goes back to, like, Mary being able to pass for white into trade. I think whiteness was one of the worst things to ever happen to quote unquote white people, because I think that it strips people of strips people of their pride and their humanity. You put your humanity and your empathy, and you lose all of that to become white. It's like, what do you give up to be white? And I think what people gave up to be white is culture, family, tradition. You're no longer Irish. You're no longer Italian. You're no longer, English, European, Russian. You're no longer all these things. You're white, and we're gonna conform. And we're all gonna be one family. And, to conform to be this kind of hive mind of whiteness. And what comes with that? It comes with disassociation. It comes with, because Bo, now he's taking over. A human being is getting ate the fuck up next to him. And he's just like, all right, baby, let's go.
I feel like that's a very
that?
good representation of a lot of white people, like looking at the horrors going on in the world and just going, that's just how the world is. That's whatever.
And it's like, girl, it's like, you don't see that? And then that's when shit starts clicking. Oh, baby, her husband is gone. He's gone. Gone, girl.
You better learn to face it, bitch.
He's gone. And then Remick, obviously Remick starts hive minding, like, hey, and she starts speaking through him. And he's like, we're all one hive mind family now. We all know everything about each other. And then he starts speaking in Chinese and is like, I even know how you like to be licked. And it's like,
it's such a violation of their specific intimacy too. Like, I feel like this movie has done a good job at talking about sexuality as an intimate act for people to connect. And Remick doing that is such a disgusting violation. And I think that does kind of like map onto like whiteness as all consuming and almost like taking the things you love and twisting them and turning them into weapons to be used against you.
And I think that even goes back to what the preacher was saying on the opening scene of like a gross misinterpretation. It's a gross misinterpretation of humanity. So obviously Grace is clocking, ooh, bitch, this is terrible. And then I can't go with you. And then he's like, okay, well, maybe we'll have to go pay your daughter Alice a visit. Oh, and then that's when she lost. I feel like that was the moment where Grace said, okay, I give up. I have to sell everybody out.
Mama Bear mode was activated.
I have to do it, Mama Bear no was activated. And while it disappoints me, I am understanding.
Well, I mean, not even that, because she also talks about the fact that she's like, but if we don't stop them, they're not just gonna stop at my daughter. They're gonna turn the whole town. Like, they have to be stopped. So in a way, I'm kind of like, I kind of get it, but like, girl, do you really think y'all can take this? Do you really think y'all can stop them?
But then this is the thing. When she opens the doors and says, "Come on in, bitch," they don't lose. I mean, they don't lose immediately. I mean, they are kind of kicking their butt a little bit. So it's like, don't count yourself out.
It's almost like because they're all a hive mind, it makes it harder for them to fight. Like, it's specifically with Remick. Like, they all feel Remick's pain specifically. Like, they won't all die with Remick, but they'll feel his pain while he's still here. And I'm like, ooh, let's use that.
Yeah. So Annie gives them the power and the information, and they all have to eat a clove of garlic. We get a fake out with Perline about her being a vampire because she didn't want to eat the garlic. Girl, I think garlic is good.
You're like, I don't understand the problem here.
But whatever. I mean, the raw garlic is really strong, and it will be like, ugh, but garlic is still good in general. So girl, I don't understand your problem. But anywho, Annie damn ho. So once the gates are open and they start fucking battling down. I mean, but before they're battling down, he is literally puppeteering them to do the damn Irish jig, and I just think that is
when they hear it and they see in the distance, and he's singing, and there's the thunder in the distance. It's one of the most bone-chilling fucking moments. You're like, because that's also the moment we realize he got everyone at the party, everybody who left, they're Team Remick now.
Yeah, because he told everybody to go home, right? Oh, that was so literally I think it's the most scared I've ever, mind you, because I'm also high and drunk watching this in the movie theater.
I mean, they sound beautiful, but also this is a reminder that they're going to kill us all. So
it's like they're all AI. It's like they're nobody's real. It's all AI. It's all AI.
I mean, yes.
It's like, ugh, you know. But yeah, then they get to battling, and you know, things happen. Annie's one of the first to go, but you know, Smoke fulfills his promise and he
It's so sad too that the Stack is the one to do it, and it's like Stack doesn't seem to realize why Annie doesn't want to be a vampire, because it's like when you're a vampire, you don't give a shit about other people's reasonings and their choices. You're just like, no, you must be part of the cohort.
It's like, no, she didn't fucking want that. But then you can tell that part of them is there, because when Annie does die, Mary's like, no, Annie.
Yeah, I feel like that is her, but I feel like it's also just that feeling of like, oh, she's perma-dead now. Like, she's gone.
You know, and it's like, but at the same time, I feel like that's why death is a great equalizer, and I feel like that's why it's not always something to be sad about. I think that Annie was ready. I think Annie was like, bitch, I got somebody waiting for me. And I think that was really beautiful. And I think that, you know, depending on the circumstances, death is not always something to be mournful about. It's not always a sad thing. For some people, it is a happy ending. And that's not in like a suicidal ideation way, to be clear. That is just in like it's just a part of life. And I think that there are some people that like are able to accept that when it is their
right
time.
And almost like the urge to fight that can be beautiful, but it also can warp you into denying your own humanity and the humanity of others.
Because I also think like just the idea of wanting to live forever in itself is also a very like white concept.
Glares at Peter Thiel real quick.
You know, and like, but then Mary is like, no, like, we can all be one beautiful, when we kill all of you, we're going to be one big, beautiful family, and we're going to have heaven right here on earth. And I think, like, again, referring to my Bonnie Blue commentary that I'm going to put in here, I think she said that is really appealing to black people, because black people are always told by white Jesus, suffer. You will suffer on earth. You will not have pleasure. You will not be in love. You will not be gay. You won't have any kind of pleasure. You won't do anything for yourself. Slaves obey your masters. And you'll suffer in this life, and your reward is you'll get to die, and then you'll have a reward in heaven. You'll have, you'll have such a better life in heaven, but here you're gonna suffer. You need to suffer. Your life.
What a convenient way to get away with oppressing people while they're on the earth.
So have pride in your suffering, but to tell black people that they get to have heaven on earth and enjoy the life that they have now, that's attractive.
Ooh,
that's attractive.
Yeah, I think specifically also just their relationship to like Stack and Mary. It's like, this is kind of the only way they could really be together, like in the shadows, never being able to see the light of day again. It's very tragic. It hurts a lot.
It's very, very, very tragic. And the battle ends up going outside. And, they get into the water and you feel like, oh shit, it's getting close. You think Remy's about to win. And then he starts saying, Our Father that art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. He's like, listen, and the fact that does nothing. And he was like, yeah, the people who took my land, they made me say those same prayers. And it makes me angry, but it also brings me some sort of comfort, and like kind of like drawing a parallel between what happened to the Irish and the Irish's oppression to black people. And the fact that he was specifically Irish was a very interesting choice, because I like that in a way it is able to tie the oppressions together in a complementary compare and contrast kind of way, because oftentimes I think that the suffering of the Irish is always used as like this gotcha, like, oh, gotcha, we suffered too, gotcha, we also experienced, we were Irish were slaves too, so your shit.
Yeah, it's always used to say like, oh, racism isn't real, anti-blackness isn't real because the Irish suffered, and it's like, girl, y'all were victimized by the same people, shut up.
And it's like, instead of it being like, oh, we sisters, we together, it's, oh, look at me, like fuck your pain, look at me. Even though, like, they're really not comparable, because, you know, chattel slavery was like, whatever. But, like, you know, it in a way, them trying to bring it up as a gotcha, it's not even almost disrespectful. It is very disrespectful to the Irish people that they're quote unquote trying to champion. It's like you're just using it as a mockery, as this little gotcha moment, rather than like a real oppression that these people went through.
Very, very much so. And I appreciate the fact that there's this acknowledgement that there is comfort in it, but like acknowledging that it was like these Christian beliefs, the ideologies were forced upon their people. Because I think there is a real truth in that paradoxical like love-hate relationship where it's like this did help us as a people, but also this was forced on us and used against us. Like, it's both at the same time. It's not shying away from any of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's paradoxical, and it's about power, and it's about who has the power, and how they're going to use it, and being able to be swallowed up by whiteness, and what is that, and what does that get you, and what do you have to give up for that? And I think oftentimes that is humanity, and I think it's empathy. You know, going back to Bo watching that man get eaten and seeing nothing, and I think that even goes to like white people seeing injustice, empathy gone. You know, like when the Charlie Kirk shit happened, I was like, girl, black people, in the 2010s, black people were watching each other get killed on TV almost every other day. And we still had to go to work and live our lives that white people could watch that and just, and sleep fine at night. But when it happens to a white guy, the world has to stop. And we have to go, oh, poor Charlie Kirk.
Did you know he had a family?
Girl. And it's like, we all have families, but you turn a blind eye to it. So it's quite sad. But Remick gets Buffy the Vampire Slayer by an axe. By, you know, he gets the axe because he gets the guitar, because, you know, the guitar is also the axe. Okay, cool. You know, because it's silver, and the silver and the guitar gets him. And then also the sun is rising, so it's a combination of the sun rising, but also him being, you know, uniquely stabbed by the
and
silver
a wooden stake
heart.
by smoke in the back.
In a hort.
Yes,
yes.
You could say he's been triple penetrated. You're welcome.
The cousins who double penetrate together, I guess. No. So, do you feel like Remick was truly beaten, or do you feel like he resigned to his fate and gave up and gave in?
I don't know if he like resigned really. I never really thought about it, like whether or not he like won or lost. I think it's just, regardless, his actions have like left like horrible reverberations, because all these people like are gone now. Like the only survivors are like Smoke and Sammy, and they have just, I mean, Smoke don't even last that long, so it's really just Sammy. And yes, Sammy really did like manage to live a long, I assume, happy life. I hope, God, I hope. But like, he's been traumatized by this night. Like, the scars that Remick have left are deep and profound. I think it's so sad that everyone was really enjoying this night. Everybody was so happy and free, but now it's like there are so many empty voids left by all the people that were lost that night.
Yeah. So then Smoke remembers what Remick said earlier about, because the two Klansmen that he, you know, brought into the family, his uncle is that Grand Dragon that stole them the property earlier, and he drops the tea that they were Klan, obviously, and then in the morning they planned on massacring them.
So
anyway.
It was either death by vampire or death by
Smoke
Klan.
has to get ready. Right, so, you know, which is so insidious to like have it be opening night, and you have people, you know, who are drunk and happy, and the sun is up, and now they're about to go home, and they're tired out from all that fucking partying,
and they're easy pickings for these racist bitches.
Some of them are sleeping. Right. And it's like, just insidious. Go fucking fuck yourself. So, you know, of course, Smoke, Elijah is okay, bitch, I gotta fucking get my shit ready. He gets in the bushes, he waits for them to show up, and he cleans house. He cleans them out. He cleans them out. And then he's like, ugh, I'm so, and you know, this is how you know he comes from the school of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Because after he was clearing them out, he asked the Grand Dragon, he was like, so, I need a smoke. You got a light? Fuck you, nigga. No, he's like, okay, my bad. Okay, I light my own damn cigarette. However, I am about to shoot your ass. He's like, wait. No, I'll give you money. You want some money?
No, because money wasn't enough in the first place.
Money was supposed to be the great equalizer. Like, money was supposed to be the thing that got me respect. Money was supposed to be, I give you the money for this place and you leave me alone. But money wasn't enough. You couldn't stand to see us have no motherfucking money. So much to where we bought the place fair and square and you still wanted to burn our shit to the ground.
Couldn't let us have money, couldn't let us have happiness, a safe place of our own, like nothing. It's like you literally didn't want us to be.
Nothing. And it's always been like that. I mean, there are places in America. I think there's like a thriving old black community under one of the Great Lakes. Mm-hmm. Because white people burned that place to the ground and drowned it and turned it into one of the Great Lakes.
Which is the most white person thing ever. Bitch. It's literally like just white people are like, we want segregation. We want our community separate. You go thrive elsewhere. And black people were like, okay, we'll do that. They built a beautiful, thriving community, and white people were like, yeah, I can't have none of that. So it's literally like, okay, you just want them gone. Okay. Message received.
And then in 2025, it's like, oh, why don't black people just have their own space and their own communities instead of trying to, you know, be in all of our shit?
Because y'all literally destroy it every time.
You know, but then there's this moment after, you know, he's done with the Grand Wizard. He, you know, has this hallucination, but it's not really a hallucination because he's dying. And, you know, and you can tell his wounds were not that bad where he really could have patched himself up. But he was, you know, he resigned himself. He was ready. He's lost everything. So he just kind of like, you know, and he's like, baby, put that cigarette out. I don't want all that damn smoke on my baby. So he was able to just, and then she calls him by his like actual name, calls him by Elijah. And, you know, because that gangster shit is done. The gangster shit is gone because we're dead now. We're going to the afterlife. So you're going to be who you are. So he actually gets to hold his baby and he cries and, you know, he kind of, I just think that was just such a beautiful.
It made me fucking weep, man. Just the fact that he was like, that he could rest and be reunited with like his little family like that. It's sad the circumstances that led them here, but I'm at least comforted by the idea that they have rest now and that they're free from the pain of this horrible earth.
And then, you know, Sammy goes home, and then that's how we get the scene
with Trash Dad
of the movie. And I like that with Trash Dad, and I like that Sammy, you know, didn't let that night ruin music for him, and that he was able to pick up his guitar and
have a thriving career.
And, you know, we get a thriving career. And we get this scene where it's the 90s.
And we in Chicago.
And we in Chicago. So Stack and Mary is coming up in the night. That's like, I literally spared the shit out of me. I'm like, oh no. And it's revealed that Smoke spared Stack. And he was like, just don't go after Sammy. Let Sammy live his life. And I think he was more able to like respect that. Number one, because Remick is dead. He's no longer under Remick's control. And also, they genuinely did love and care for Sammy. So, you know, and they offer him immortality. He's like, nah, bitch, I'm good. I've seen everything. I think I'm about tired of this place. So when it's my time, baby, I'm ready to go.
And I really love that as like the bookend for the movie because, you know, Sammy was able to move on. But I also kind of appreciated that, like, Stack and Mary were like, we've listened to like pretty much everything you've made. But the thing with vampirism is that they not only have to like live in the dark, they can't be in the day. they can't really participate in community anymore. They can't really have robust social lives. And Morbid Zoo has this fantastic video essay on Sinners where she specifically talks about the art aspect and the AI kind of parallels in the movie, where they can't really create the way that Sammy does. Like, vampirism kind of steals your ability to create the soulful, beautiful works of art that Sammy can. And I think that's part of why Remick was drawn to Sammy. He coveted that ability to create, to connect with the ancestors in the future through the music. I think that also really speaks to the way that the insidious forces of our world kind of hone in on people with those abilities to help people connect, and it seeks to either absorb them into the system and rob them of their artistic worth or destroy them.
Yeah. I definitely agree.
You're welcome for that depressing note.
And he was just like, he was like, I have nightmares about that night every once in a while, but I just want to know, like, was it the best? But like, up until then, it was the best day of my life. Do you feel the same? He was like, definitely the best day of my life, because that was the last time I got to see my brother alive, and the last time I got to see the sun.
That hurts so bad. But again, it's like this movie is kind of all about that paradox of like the best and the worst, the good and the bad. And I think that really just kind of encapsulated that.
You know, it's a duality. You gotta do both, you know? And then, but like when they walked in, I was so scared.
I was like, if I were Sammy, no! I'd be pissed. I'm like, you're telling me I made it this fucking far. I made it to the nearly the finish line, and I go out like this, I'd be pissed. I'd be so pissed.
I'll say, not y'all finna eat
I'd be
me.
like, can vampires do suicide? Because that's what I would do.
No.
I would be like, no.
Girl. I wonder though, I pose a question because I know you are very anti-vampirism. And I think in a way at large society is also, because oftentimes in vampire stories it's like the most moral, most just person in those stories always is the one that doesn't want to be a vampire or hates vampirism the most. But I wonder, is there a version or a metaphor for vampirism that could ever be seen as good? Actually, good in a way.
This is a thing I've been thinking about too, where the vampirism in Sinners is a lot more like old school vampirism, where it is that parasitic nature. Because originally vampires were kind of meant to be like the aristocracy, literally the rich, like bleeding the poor for all their worth, for all their labor and value, and benefiting from that. Like, that's why vampire lords always lived in those big gothic castles, because that's where all the lords and kings would live. But recently, in modern eras, vampirism and monsters in general have leaned more into like queer coding for marginalized people, because we've been made to feel like monsters and we kind of see ourselves in the monster. And I feel like we see that a lot in things like the originals or Vampire Diaries, or and I think both can be true. Both can be like beautiful metaphors. I think it's just kind of which one you prefer to see. I think it's just, generally speaking, I tend to try to think of death not as something as scary, which is why I lean more on the anti-immortality side.
Yeah. But even in shows like the Vampire Diaries, like those vampires were also like very depressed that they were vampires. Like the originals, the Michaelsons are like, girl, we had no choice. Like, we're just going with the flow here.
Yeah, which I think does also kind of tie into the marginalization thing too, where it's like, I'm just dealing with the hand I was dealt. I fucking hate this, but this is also me. It's who I am. So I kind of have to learn to love it.
And the happy ending for the Michelson trio was Elijah and Klaus dying, so their existence being over, and then Rebecca getting the cure and no longer being.
So see, they are free.
So very anti-vampire. I feel like the only like media I've seen that's like being vampire can unironically be a good thing, and it can unironically make someone's life better. Even though there's some drawbacks to it, is Interview with the Vampire. I think Louis was able to use vampirism to assert his own power at a time where being black made you powerless, no matter how much money you had. Like Louis Dupont-Dulac had lots and lots of money. He pretty much owned the nightlife in New York, and he was still disrespected by the white aristocracy. And the fact that he was able to be, you know what, fuck this, I'm gonna use my power to elevate myself and just kill all you motherfuckers. So
there's definitely room for both. Definitely.
Even though like his life kind of sucked after that, you know, there's definitely room for both. I kind of want to see more stories about that, and I kind of wish that like Mary and Stack would have been able to like, because like what Sammy said was really real and true, but I also feel like the life that they've been able to live, we don't really get to know the value that has brought them, because we don't get that side of it, because the writer I felt the writer, Ryan Coogler, wrote it and intended us to like side with Sammy's view of like immortality.
Yeah, I definitely see what you mean. I feel like there is at least, I do find a beauty in the fact that like Stack and Mary were finally able to be together, even if it had to be like this. I feel like there has to be some kind of beauty in the fact that their relationship could finally happen and they could finally be with each other.
Yeah. So yeah, that was
That's
Sinners,
movie
y'all.
of the damn year.
I loved it. I thought it was spooky. I'm gonna watch it 10 more times this month. I thought the performances were excellent. Obviously, my favorite characters are the Smokestack twins, as it goes without saying. But if I have to do a runner-up character, it would probably be Miss Annie.
Annie is my favorite by fucking far. She is a bad bitch. She knew who she was. She knew what she valued. And I just respect that in a person. Also, I'm glad she had fun having sex. Good for her. She deserves it.
Period. Anywho, guys, do you have any final thoughts before I wrap it up?
No, I'm brain dead. I'm gone.
He's a vampire, guys.
I do dress in red, so
His
yeah,
mind is gone,
possible.
Red owns him. Oof. Anywho, if you enjoyed this, get my numbers up, bitch. Like and subscribe, and share.
Or
And do
Remick
all
will
of the
find you.
things. Remick will find you and find your families, okay? Anywho, child. This has been Maxwell Media Inc. I'm your host, Sir Maxwell. May the power
God help
protect
us all.
you. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.